Hi guys, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be making a vegan chocolate silk pie, and I'm going to be taking a already existing recipe from Minimalist Baker, and I will share the link down below. And I'm gonna kind of change it around a little bit, just to suit my own needs, and because I don't really like what she used as the crust. So she used essentially it's a raw brownie, and it's with dates and cocoa and I don't know, I guess that may be it. And I just didn't want to do that. So I'm going to make a different kind of crust. It is going to be chocolate though. And so I'm going to be using Fudgio. So I guess technically it's going to be fudge. But these are totally vegan, just so you know. Oreos are also vegan. Check the label just to make sure. The off-brand is probably vegan as well. These are just what were on sale. Honestly, I just would have bought whatever was cheapest, but I think these are gonna make a really good crust. So the crust is just gonna be Fudgios and vegan butter or mayo. This is obviously not mayo, vegan butter or margarine. This is obviously vegan margarine. So I'm just going to put these in the blender because I don't have a food processor. So I'm going to put these in the blender, melt some butter and make the crust, and I will show you that. I'll be back. Okay, so I've blended that all together, and I thought I had a pie dish, a glass pie dish, but I don't. So I'm just gonna use this cake pan instead. This is a 9-inch cake pan, and I blended up an entire package of these Fudgios, and it is 300 grams, I believe it says. This thing's folded. 303 grams. Why did it have to fold right on the number? Yes, I believe it's 303 grams of Fudgios. Then I put in half a cup of melted butter and a tiny little bit of sea salt, just because I think it brings out the flavor of the chocolate. And then I blended it up and kind of just smushed it in the pan with my fingers and kind of brought it up on the sides of the dish so that it'll be easier to get out. And now I'm just preheating my oven for 350 degrees, and I'm gonna put this in for about 10 minutes. Okay, while we're waiting for the pie crust to bake, we can get the rest of the pie ready. So I didn't tell you before what's in it, but just semi-sweet chocolate chips. I got these from Costco. Any kind of non-dairy milk of your choice. In my fridge, I have Coconut Dream, and it's chocolate, so chocolate coconut milk. That'll work. And silken tofu. And you're not going to need this whole package. I'll tell you when I'm putting it in how much you need. But yeah, so that is it for the entire filling of the pie. And so yeah, it's a really simple recipe. So let me just get set up here. So the recipe called for 12 ounces of tofu, and if you don't have a scale, I always hate it when they put it like that because a lot of people just don't have scales, and I just recently got one. So anyways, I just wanted to tell you that it ended up being about 1.5 cups of tofu. You're not really gonna notice too much if it's a little bit more or if it's a little bit less. So I wouldn't really worry about it too much. You know, 1.5 to 1 2/3 of a cup of tofu, silken tofu. It has to be silken tofu or else your pie will be really gritty. I've made that mistake, so I just wanted to let you know. Okay, so this is gonna go in the blender. Next in the blender is 1 3/4 of a cup of your dairy milk. I had exactly 1 3/4 of a cup of this, so it was like it's meant to be. So this, my pie might have a little bit more of a coconutty taste, but I don't care because I like coconut, and it is chocolate flavored, so it really will be subtle. And then we're putting more chocolate in, so you might not be able to taste it, but anyways, you can put in coconut milk, like full fat coconut milk, and it would be really creamy. Or you can put almond milk, cashew milk, rice milk, any kind of milk you want, really. So I just took this out of the oven. It was only actually in there for about 7 minutes, but it became fragrant, and I didn't want to burn it. So because it's pretty hot, I'm gonna let it cool before I put the filling in because I don't want it to heat up too much and, you know, cook it or melt it or anything like that. So yeah, I'm just gonna let this cool down for a couple minutes, and then I'm gonna put it in the freezer for probably about 10 minutes. I've already messed up. This is why I don't bake. I put way too much milk in, and I thought it seemed like a lot, but I was mixing up the chocolate with the milk. So I was only supposed to put half a cup of non-dairy milk in the blender and 1 3/4 of a cup of chocolate. So I guess it wasn't meant to be with the amount of milk I had. Anyways, I just poured a bunch out of the blender. This is how I bake, guys. I am so bad at it. But this recipe is pretty foolproof. I don't think it'll make much of a difference. I mean, there's 3 ingredients: tofu, milk, and chocolate. So I'm just gonna go with it. So then I'm going to melt 3/4 of a cup of chocolate, semi-sweet chocolate in the microwave. You could do this in a double boiler, but I am lazy. So I will come back when it is melted. All right, so the chocolate is melted. It took about 2.5 minutes on 30-second increments in a microwave safe bowl with stirring it every few times. And this is all going in the blender. And then we're ready to pulverize, and that's the end of our pie. Okay, so my pie crust is just out of the freezer. It is cooled down. It is nice and kind of cooked and all blended together. And my filling is all mixed, and I'm going to pour it in and show you what it looks like. So I'm just going to scrape down the sides a little bit, but you can see that it's like really nice and creamy. You won't be able to taste the tofu, I promise. It'll just taste like delicious chocolate pie. And yeah, so I'm just going to scrape down the sides and be right back. Okay, so I'm going to put this in the freezer to set. You do need to set it, or else it'll just be like pudding, pretty much. But it does set pretty well. And you can serve it frozen or you can serve it chilled, whichever one you prefer. But I am also going to put some coconut milk whipped cream on here in a little bit. So I will show you how to do that. But other than that, if you don't want the whipped cream, this is what the pie looks like. It is delicious. I promise. It is completely vegan. It is so good. I hope you try it. It's pretty easy to make. I mean, it's pretty inexpensive too. Tofu is so cheap. I didn't use too much chocolate. The non-dairy milk is pretty cheap. Like, everything is just pretty inexpensive. And if you wanted to make this with a graham cracker crust, you could. However, you would have to get vegan graham crackers because most graham crackers do contain dairy of some sort, or eggs, I'm not sure. But anyways, yeah, so this is what it looks like, and I've had it before and it's so good, so I hope you guys try it. But I will show you what it looks like when I put the coconut whipped cream on it, and then I'm gonna get my friends to try this later and see if they like it. Okay, and we're back. So now we are going to make the coconut whipped cream. This technically can be just one ingredient, and that is full-fat coconut milk. However, I'm going to put in some icing sugar to sweeten it up a little bit and a little bit of vanilla, but those are totally optional. You do need to do some prep work before you make this. This needs to be refrigerated for about 12 hours, I believe, so that the coconut water kind of separates from the full-fat coconut milk. So we are just going to be using that solidified coconut milk. And then also using your metal bowl and then putting the beaters in the metal bowl in the freezer for probably about 20 minutes before you start. That's just a trick for actually all whipped cream. And so yeah, I'm just gonna get this all ready and we'll be back. All right, so I have whipped up my coconut whipped cream. Like I said, I put in a little bit of vanilla, and I also put in about a 1/4 cup of icing sugar. You can, however, do that to taste. It is a bit sweet, so if you don't want it that sweet, then just put in less icing sugar, or you don't have to put any at all if you don't want to, really. All right, so finally we're done. This is what it looks like. I'm just gonna put it in the freezer to set it and probably take it out about 10 minutes before we're gonna serve it. So I'm sorry if this video was a little bit janky and all over the place. I'm not so good at filming, so I don't know what this was. Not so good at filming. But I promise you this is a really easy recipe, and I'm gonna link down below the Minimalist Baker's recipe and also a link to how to make coconut whipped cream in case my instructions were just awful. But I promise you it's delicious and it's vegan, and I have so many other vegan recipes that I can share for you. Every time we make brownies at my house, so we make them vegan. My husband now makes them vegan. I make very delicious vegan Nanaimo bars. If you're in Canada, you know what that is. They are delicious. I can pretty much make anything vegan. Chocolate pie or chocolate cake. I've made butter tarts that are vegan. Anyways, if you have any suggestions, I will totally take on the task of trying to make whatever that is vegan. The only thing that I probably can't do is something like meringues or like Italian meringue icing, because that involves eggs, I believe, too. So anyways, I can't really do those, but everything else I can probably do. So if you do have any suggestions, please comment them down below and let me know what you want me to try and bake. And if you have made this, please let me know if you like it. I would really appreciate that. Again, I'm sorry this video was kind of all over the place. I'm new to this, but hopefully in the future they will get better. Okay? Thanks so much, guys, for stopping by, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
Okay. This is so good. It's got tofu in it, but you have no idea. You're getting protein, you have no idea. Coconut milk, no idea. It's so good. You're going to love it.